Stuffed pork chops are a culinary delight, a dish that brings together the rich, juicy flavor of pork with the savory surprise of a delicious filling. Whether you're preparing a cozy family dinner or looking to impress guests at a weekend gathering, mastering the art of stuffed pork chops can elevate your home cooking to a whole new level. Today, let's walk through everything you need to know to make stuffed pork chops like a pro, from choosing the right cut to nailing the perfect stuffing and finishing with a flawless presentation. The journey to perfect stuffed pork chops begins at the butcher's counter. Not all pork chops are created equal, and for this dish, thickness is key. Look for bone-in or boneless chops that are at least 1.5 inches thick. This thickness gives you enough room to create a pocket for the stuffing without risking the meat falling apart during cooking. If you don't see thick chops available, don't hesitate to ask your butcher for a custom cut. They'll be happy to help, and your dish will be all the better for it. Once you have your chops, it's time to consider the stuffing. The beauty of stuffed pork chops lies in their versatility. You can tailor the stuffing to suit the occasion, the season, or simply your personal taste. Classic stuffings often feature a mixture of breadcrumbs, herbs, onions, celery, and sometimes fruit like apples or dried cranberries to add a hint of sweetness that pairs beautifully with pork. For a more decadent twist, consider adding crumbled sausage, sharp cheeses, or even sautéed mushrooms and spinach. The key is to balance flavors and textures, something savory, something aromatic, something with a bit of crunch or bite. To prepare the stuffing, start by sautéing aromatics like onions and garlic in a bit of butter or olive oil until they're soft and fragrant. Add diced celery for crunch. And if you're using sausage, let it brown and release its flavor. Next, stir in your breadcrumbs, fresh herbs, think sage, thyme, or rosemary, and a splash of chicken broth to moisten the mixture. Finally, fold in any extras, like chopped apples or shredded cheese. Season generously with salt and pepper, and let the mixture cool slightly before stuffing the chops. Now comes the fun part, creating the pocket for your stuffing. Lay each pork chop flat on a cutting board and, using a sharp paring knife, cut a deep horizontal slit into the side of the chop, being careful not to slice all the way through. You want a generous pocket, but you don't want the stuffing to spill out during cooking. Once your pockets are prepared, gently fill each one with the stuffing mixture. Don't overpack. The stuffing will expand slightly as it cooks. Secure the opening with toothpicks if needed to keep everything neat and tidy. Season the outside of the pork chops with salt, pepper, and any additional spices you like. A dusting of paprika adds color and a subtle smoky flavor, while a little brown sugar can help the chops caramelize beautifully. For an added layer of flavor, consider brushing the chops with a bit of Dijon mustard or a thin glaze of honey before seasoning. Cooking stuffed pork chops to perfection requires attention to detail and a little patience. The best results come from a two-step process: searing and baking. Start by heating a heavy skillet over medium-high heat and adding a splash of oil. When the oil shimmers, add the stuffed chops and sear them for a couple of minutes on each side, just until they develop a golden brown crust. Searing locks in the juices and creates a savory exterior that contrasts beautifully with the tender stuffing inside. Once your chops are seared, transfer them to a baking dish. If you're feeling indulgent, you can pour a bit of chicken broth or apple cider into the bottom of the dish to keep the chops moist and add flavor as they bake. Cover the dish with foil and place it in a preheated oven. 350 degrees Fahrenheit is a safe bet. Depending on the thickness of your chops and the amount of stuffing, baking will take 20 to 30 minutes. The goal is to reach an internal temperature of 145 degrees Fahrenheit in the thickest part of the meat, ensuring juicy, perfectly cooked pork. As the pork chops bake, the aroma of roasting meat and herbs will fill your kitchen, signaling that something special is on the way. When the chops are done, let them rest for a few minutes before serving. This rest period allows the juices to redistribute throughout the meat, ensuring every bite is succulent and flavorful. Presentation is the final touch that transforms a good meal into a great one. Arrange the stuffed pork chops on a platter, spooning any pan juices over the top for an extra burst of moisture and flavor. Garnish with sprigs of fresh herbs or a scattering of thinly sliced apples. For a complete meal, pair the chops with roasted vegetables, creamy mashed potatoes, or a crisp green salad. Stuffed pork chops are not only impressive, they're also deeply comforting. A dish that brings warmth and joy to any table, the combination of tender pork and flavorful stuffing is a winner every time. And once you've mastered the basics, you can experiment endlessly. Try different stuffings: caramelized onion and blue cheese for a bold punch, sun-dried tomatoes and basil for a Mediterranean twist, or cornbread and jalapenos for a southern-inspired take. Don't be afraid to get creative with sauces either. A simple pan sauce made by deglazing the skillet with white wine and a touch of cream can elevate your pork chops to restaurant quality. Or, for a sweet-savory combination, try a drizzle of balsamic reduction or a spoonful of homemade apple chutney. For those who like to prepare meals ahead of time, stuffed pork chops are a fantastic make-ahead option. Simply assemble the chops and refrigerate them, uncooked, for up to a day before you plan to cook. This not only frees up time during your dinner prep, but also allows the flavors of the stuffing to meld and deepen. If you're cooking for a crowd, stuffed pork chops can be doubled or tripled with ease. Arrange them in a large baking dish, allow for a little extra cooking time, and serve with family-style sides. The result is a meal that feels both celebratory and comforting, perfect for holidays, birthdays, or simply a special Sunday dinner. In the end, stuffed pork chops are more than just a recipe. They're an invitation to play with flavors, textures, and traditions. Whether you stick to the classic combination of breadcrumbs and herbs or venture into bold new territory with unexpected ingredients, the process is as rewarding as the final result. With a little practice and a spirit of creativity, you'll soon be making stuffed pork chops like a pro, delighting friends and family with a dish that's as beautiful to look at as it is delicious to eat. So, the next time you're looking to bring a touch of elegance and comfort to your table, remember the humble pork chop and all the possibilities that lie within. Choose your favorite stuffing, season with care, and cook with confidence. With each savory, satisfying bite, you'll taste the difference that a little extra effort and a lot of love can make.